Hey everyone, we are back once again with the Stand Tall Leadership Show. I'm excited to be here. My name's Steve Bowler, also known as Stand Tall Steve, and the focus of the Stand Tall Leadership Show is to provide our educational leaders out there with ideas, concepts, and understanding as it relates to your leadership, no matter what level you are, administrator, teacher leader, paraprofessional, parent leader, whatever it might be. Hopefully these ideas, concepts will really help you take your leadership, take the educational environment to the next level. All right, we're continuing on with our series. It's a three-part series, Vision, Mission, and Values. We talked about vision. Vision excites my future, but frustrates my present, right? We talked about that, the importance of having an exciting look at the future, but currently you're frustrated because you're not there yet. But you use that frustration as motivation to get you where you need to go. We talked about mission, which is the work that you do. And moving forward. A vision, what do we say? A mission is something you work on, while a vision is something that works on you, right? And you work on the mission. And so today we're going to talk about values. Now, my thought, out of the three, values is probably the most important. But we talk about vision and mission first, because that kind of sets the stage so that when we talk about values, you can see how that kind of oversees that vision and mission and the work that needs to get done. Now, for those of you that are watching here on the YouTube and the video, you can see I am not alone. I'm here with someone, Patrick Lindfors, and I have him here because he is a part of BSA, Boy Scouts of America. And so I just want to say, hey, thank you, Patrick, for joining me. Glad to have you here, man.
Steve, it's an honor. Glad to be with you.
Yes, excellent. So let's start off. Just tell us about who you are. A little background on you. You can go as far back as you want, and your work as it with the BSA, Boy Scouts of America.
Well, I was born in a humble. No, just kidding. So hey everybody. Patrick Lindfors. I serve as the Scout Executive and CEO for the Garden State Council, the Boy Scouts of America. We serve 6 counties in South Jersey. I've worked for the Scouts for going on 19 years. I grew up in Scouts. I'm an Eagle Scout. I worked on summer camp staff in college, and it was the relationships that I made there that led me to this career. This was a second career for me. And I served for the Boy Scouts of America in councils in Orlando, Florida, and in Jacksonville, Florida. I'm originally from Miami. And then 4 years ago, had the wonderful opportunity to move here to South Jersey. I'm just trying to reverse the trend of everybody growing up here and going there. So working hard on that. And so we're proud to serve, work with a great group of volunteers. We're a small business, right? We've got a lot of folks don't know the Boy Scouts of America is a profession. We've got 17 full-time employees here in South Jersey. There's about 3,500 of us nationwide, but we work with thousands and thousands of volunteers to deliver that scouting mission.
There you go. That's it. And the way that I know him is because I think maybe if you've listened to any of my previous episodes, I've talked about my son, who is an Eagle Scout. He was all in for Scouts. One day when he was in kindergarten, he came home with a flyer that said this Boy Scouts, or the Cub Scouts rather, and he says, "Dad, I want to do this." Now, I was a Cub Scout and a Boy Scout up until first class, and then I stopped. And I'm like, all right, let's do it. And he was all in, and I mean all in, all the way through to get to Eagle Scout. And so when I'm thinking about this episode that we have here, I'm thinking about values. And one of the first things that comes to mind when we're talking about values is Boy Scouts, and how the Boy Scouts really embody values. And that is kind of like the driving force of who they are. So, Patrick, what are your thoughts on values? How do you define values in your mind?
Well, in terms of scouting, we start with the mission, right? The mission of the organization is to instill values in young people so they can make ethical decisions throughout their lifetimes. The work of scouting is all about preparing young people for life, to be happy and successful. I believe that we have been, are currently, and will always be in desperate need of leaders. And I'm not talking just about political leaders. I'm talking about leaders in families, leaders at work, leaders in communities, folks that have a foundation of values that can provide the kindness and the courteousness and the just the civility that we so desperately yearn for in our lives. And scouting does that. We're known for outdoor adventure, right? We're known for hiking, camping, swimming, fishing, right? Kayaking, rock climbing. We're known for that stuff, but that's just the classroom, right? That's just the classroom. That's the vehicle to deliver the Scout Law and the Scout Oath, the values that are in those two things. So, Steve, it's no surprise that you thought of Scouts out of the gate when you're thinking about values, because your son, every 7 days when they got together, repeated, a Scout is trustworthy, loyal, helpful, friendly, courteous, kind, obedient, cheerful, thrifty, brave, clean, and reverent. The 12 points of the Scout Law.
Yeah, exactly. And you're so right with all of that. In that, the ultimate goal of values, I feel, is to produce people, whether they older or younger, to have a set core of beliefs that will guide them moving forward in whatever frame that might be. So let's break it down. Since this is Stand Tall Leadership Show, we talk about schools and education. You want to have values, overarching values, that fit within your organization. So as the students move through the school, the teachers move through the building, the staff move through the building, they have a set of values, of beliefs that are commonly shared that govern behaviors, actions, and decisions. So therefore, what you end up with is you have people who are empowered within your school, within your organization, to move forward and to do what is necessary, knowing that they'll be okay. Similarly, let's go back to the Boy Scouts. One of the things that I love when you're looking at Cub Scouts to Boy Scouts. In Cub Scouts, the parents are guiding the kids. They're setting up the lessons. They're doing what's necessary. They're setting the values, which is good. When you get to Boy Scouts, which are the older ones, there's more empowerment. There's more, hey, we want you to go and do this. We want you, keep in mind the Boy Scout law, the mission, all those things and the values, and that should help govern the behaviors and the actions of the Scouts as they move forward. So I love that balance of that. Does it always work perfectly? No. I mean, I've been on some scouting trips. It was a hot mess. But again, you learn from the failures sometimes.
Absolutely. That's the laboratory that scouting creates, right? So Cub Scouts is for that youth, kindergarten through 5th grade, very adult driven, family led, right? Leader led, volunteer led. But in Scouts BSA, our program for youth 11 to 17, that's what you're talking about, Steve, is it is youth led and adult guided, right? So the idea is that it creates a laboratory where they can fail in a safe environment and learn from those failures, right? And that's a fascinating experience. I mean, and you talk to anybody that's been around the block a few times, they're going to tell you that they learn the most from when they stubbed their toe and tripped on something, right? When they fell, when they failed and learned from it, right? And scouting provides those safe opportunities to do that. And that's how you create leaders.
And it's exactly how you create leaders. And as a leader myself, or even as a school leader, that's something that you want to see. You want to see more people stepping up to become leaders. You want to see more people stepping up and being comfortable taking the helm to lead and to be led. That's another piece of this. And so if you want people to become leaders, they have to know how to be led as well. And if you have a set of values, and I love the whole term when you're talking about values, it's a set of core beliefs that we all can agree upon. Collective commitments. That's even better. A set of collective commitments that we can say we can hang our hat on. And when we have those collective commitments, when it is time to lead, when it is time to either be led, you can say, okay, we know that we're all about this. This is our collective commitments that I know when I step out and we do those things, we're going to move ahead in the right direction in a positive way.
Well, one of the things I hear you saying, Steve, is that values lead to culture. Right. Yes. If this is the agreed upon value system that we're all agreed to, then you can identify behaviors and actions that don't fit that value mold, and that's how you can coach and deliver the mission, right? Mm-hmm. By adjusting that behavior and that action, and that's what creates a culture, right? That's
exactly.
What creates culture.
And you're spot on, because when I talk about culture, and I've said this many times before on my show, culture is nothing more than a fancy word for traditions. That's what culture really is.
Yep.
Traditions are things that you do consistently over and over and over and over and over and over again. So if you have values and you're holding everyone to those common collective beliefs, those collective commitments, those values, and you can coach people through it and do it again and again and again and again and again and again, the more you do it again and again, that turns into culture. And this is who we are. There's nothing wrong with saying, this is who we are. This is what we're about. I know sometimes you hear people talk about, oh, we got to have change. If you're always saying this is who we are, we got to bring in change. Look, change is going to happen. Yeah, we know that. But there's also something positive. There's something good about saying this is who we are and being solid about that, and moving forward in that way. And you want your scouts, you want your staff, you want your students all to be that way moving forward.
Absolutely.
So you're a father. How many kids do you have? You have two, right? Two boys?
I have two sons that are currently 18 and 15, really close to being 16 and 19.
Yeah. Okay. There you go. So you got two. I have three. I got a 21-year-old daughter. My son is 18. My baby girl is 16. So we're in the thick of it. One of the things that I love to keep in mind is that as fathers, you want to instill values into your children. You want to have a set of collective commitments, a set of collective beliefs. This is who we are. This is who the Bowlers are. This is who the Lindfors are. So when they leave you, whether it's to school, to a party, to college, to whatever, they're holding true to certain beliefs and understandings of who you are. And that's the same kind of concept with values. And I'm sure you're doing that all the time with your family.
Trying, we're hoping. Yeah. Right. We're working hard every day on it. Yeah. I'm sure as adults, my two will talk about how, being in scouts wasn't a choice for them. That was a family obligation. We chose, I'm Catholic, so we chose, bringing them up in the Catholic faith. I believe that's part of a good foundation as well. I was blessed and raised by a great set of parents that instilled values in me and my two brothers. I'm one of three. And I desperately wanted to continue that legacy, to honor my parents and provide for my children that foundation. So we've absolutely strived to focus on the character. It's not so much about what you choose to do as an adult, right? What your work is, what that stuff is important. Education is the foundation for that. But really what matters to me as a parent is, what kind of person are you? What kind of character are you going to want from others and reflect to others? How are you going to treat people? Right? Those types of things. We talk about that all the time.
Mm-hmm, yeah. And same here with my kids. And one of the things that I think is most important is one of the things, let me back up a little bit. In education, when you're teaching writing to students, one of the things that is an excellent best practice is to share with the kids exemplars, like examples of excellent writing. This is phenomenal writing. Then you share some so-so writing so that they can compare, well, this is so-so writing. This is excellent writing, exemplars. So one of the things that I always tried to do as it relates to the character of my kids and the values that I want my own kids to have is I wanted to always show them exemplars. Like me as a father, this is what I'm doing to showcase good values and expectations. This is what we're looking for. Hey, did you see that over there? I see something in the news, or I see somebody's behavior, or they come home and tell me about something that happened at school. Hey, if that was in our family, what would that have turned out to be? Oh, yeah, that's not what we're about. That's just another example, another exemplar, throughout their whole life. You can tell if I ask my kids, I'm always showcasing and trying to express to them, this is the level, this is the values that we're rolling towards. This is the expectations of what, we as bowlers, my family, is all about. And that's important to me. I always think that it makes no sense to hope. I don't hope. Hope is nothing wrong with having hope, but hope is not a strategy.
Right.
I'm pretty straightforward with it.
Yeah.
Make sure that they get it.
Yeah, I can think of two examples where I do that over and over again, but I'm not sure if my sons get it yet. And what I mean by that is, so my two heroes. I'm a big baseball guy, and I'm a big music guy. So I grew up a diehard Baltimore Orioles fan, and my baseball hero was Cal Ripken.
Okay.
But the reason he was my baseball hero was the work ethic, right? The guy is known for showing up every day and going to work, no matter what challenges he was facing in his personal life, what physical ailments he had. That guy showed up every day and put his best foot forward to help his team be successful. And he ended up breaking a record that nobody thought would be broken, right? Showed up every day. It's the work ethic. And then I go to growing up in South Florida and ending up in Jersey is kind of funny, but I grew up and I still am a huge Bruce Springsteen fan.
Hey,
And one of the things I love about Bruce is he's not the best singer in the world. He's not the best guitarist in the world, but he grinds it out every day. The guy continues to put out new music. And when you go to see a show, you're going to get 3.5 hours of hard work. Any other artist in America is going to give you an hour and a half, right? So there's a common vein in those folks that I enjoy, and I try to pass that on to the kids. Like, why do we have Cal Ripken stuff on the wall and Bruce Springsteen stuff on the wall? It's not just that I enjoy the entertainment; it's that the people that they are show values and character that I reflect back, that I want to pass on to my kids. So hopefully they get it.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I think they will. I think they will. When I do my keynote speeches, I talk about the power of repetition, the power of culture, doing things over and over and over again. And I use the story of my father. Now, my father, he's from West Virginia, the hills of West Virginia. Now, nothing against anybody from West Virginia, but the people in West Virginia, they have some sayings and little quips that they say. And my dad got some of the most country things that he just said my entire childhood. And I'm like, I used to think, why do you say these things? People in New Jersey don't talk like this. And I'm like, I will never talk like this when I grow up. I say every single one of them, man. I say every single one of them. And my own kids look at me like, what is wrong with you? And I'm just like, I just gave up. I'm like, and the reason why, because it was repeated to me again and again and again and again. And then after it was repeated again, it was said again and again and again and again and again and again and again. He didn't go out of his way to say, ooh, I'm going to make sure my kids have this stuck in their heads for the rest of their life. No, he was just repeating it over and over again. So when your father or your the person that you look to, the person above, or whether it's your grandparent, your uncle, your aunt, whoever you look, and they're repeating similar values or things to you over and over again, it sticks. It may not right away when you're a knucklehead 16, 17, 18-year-old, 21-year-old, but down the line, it sticks. It really does stick. So I reassure you that it probably will stick. It will.
Good stuff.
Here's the other side of everything. So we talked about the values, the importance of values, how the Boy Scouts have values. We talked about his fathers having those values and things. Going back to your position as a executive director, or when you're leading other people and you think that you've put into them the importance of the values, you've seen the values, but then there's times where it doesn't come to fruition. People aren't stepping up. And I found that as a leader, if people are not doing the mission properly, okay, let's get them back on track. People don't see the vision properly. Okay, let me better explain it. But when people's behavior goes against the values, that's a different thing. How would you address that? Look at that. What would your thought process be when you have that with those people that you're meeting?
That's a fascinating question, and I've talked about it several times throughout my career with colleagues. What makes our work so unique is that usually we're hiring people that know a little bit about scouting, or maybe we're part of the program or connected to it in some way. So they are already coming to the table with an understanding that we are a character organization based in values, and our mission is instilling those values, right? So I am blessed that I've been in a career surrounded by people that care about others. And I bet that's the same in the education world too. A lot of folks are coming to that for the right reasons. But occasionally, yeah, you run into something where a behavior or an action does not speak to the values of the organization. And if it's coachable, coach it. If it's a deal breaker, then it's a deal breaker. And sometimes you got to part ways. And I have had to part ways with people over time for really breaking a value of scouting that's just non-negotiable. And in the examples I'm thinking of, I'm sure it would be the same in an education field too. So the other thing I would say is that as a leader, I've always believed that I'm going to think the best of you until proven otherwise. I'm going to assume that you care about other humans too, and you're somebody that can be trusted until proven otherwise. And again, the overwhelming majority of people that I've had the joy of working with in scouting have been the type of people you would want to work with.
Yeah. And I know just from me, I'm on the board of the South Jersey Garden State Council, and I know who it is you work with, and you do. You are very, very fortunate in that and having that. But as a leader also, you're right. There are times that there are certain things that are non-negotiable. And a lot of those non-negotiables, whenever you're talking about a non-negotiable, it revolves around the value. Non-negotiables in mission, again, you can get people back on track. That's all right. This is the work. This is how we do it. Let's go through a training module. Go talk to somebody. Sometimes this is the top leader. You don't even have to handle that. You know what? Talk over here. We have a policy for that. We have a guideline for that. You talk about the vision. It's like, whoa, you're doing good work, meaning they're a good person. They're all, but your vision is off. That's not what we're trying to go to. All right. Let me explain to you what our vision is. Explain that better, and you can go in there. But then when you have those values and they're completely off, that's a deeper conversation. And in order to do that, you have to hear what their values are. Like they have to express that to you. And then when you have that, if they're not willing to adjust to that, that's when a value becomes a non-negotiable. I've had situations in my leadership where I've had the no sabotage conversation. The no sabotage conversation is you talk about what the issue is, how they're moving against the values, and they may not be in alignment with it. In education, you may have people who are tenured, where you cannot remove them right away easily. So therefore, you have to have that conversation with them. It's like, okay, I get that you think completely differently. This is the direction that we're going in. I need you to tell me and promise me that you will not sabotage this. And I've literally had to say the word sabotage. And then when you do that, you get one of two answers. You get the one answer from them. Oh my goodness, I can't believe that you would say that about me. You've got to be careful. No, I would never. This is appalling. And as a leader, you got to let the silence do the heavy lifting. You don't jump in. And then when they're done, so that's a yes, right? It's a tough conversation. That's a tough conversation. The second way of answer that I've gotten is you go through so I need you to tell me that it's not going to sabotage the direction we're going in. Fine. Which means
they were thinking about it. To do. Right. They were thinking about it.
They were thinking about it. But either way, like if you're in a situation, again, I'm talking to my educational leaders that are out there, that's something that it's a strategy, if nothing else, that you could use. It's a tough spot that you can be in. But be rest assured, if you have an organization similar to the Boy Scouts where you have some strong, clear values, from the gate, from the door, check into those people that you're bringing in that have that same exact set of values. Make that very, very clear. Even in the interview process, even for as educators, if you know what your values are, that could be the beginning stages of even talking to whoever you're bringing in. Like, hey, this is what we value. This is what's most important to us. I love the. I don't. Have you ever heard the Roy Disney quote? When your values are clear, decisions are easy.
Right.
Yeah, yeah. So I love that quote. I think that's just a good way to help make decisions when as a leader.
Yeah, I've got. We talk every year, at least once a year. I bring out the pyramid of success from Coach John Wooden, right? John Wooden, right? UCLA great. And his quote is, character is what you're doing when nobody's looking, right? So that's one of the ones I lean on a fairly regular basis. I'd be remiss to say, as a scouting professional, Steve, I've had so many great relationships over the years with superintendents and school principals and teachers through my scouting work. And I've always believed that scouting and education are partners, right? Because the more that we can provide young people and families that character foundation, I think the better leaders you're going to have in the classroom. So, if your school isn't connected and with a Cub Scout program at the elementary school level or a middle school with a Scouts BSA troop, reach out and especially here in South Jersey, we'll be happy to connect. And if there's anybody with children, kindergarten through 21, and you're looking for a program, go to beascout.org to check it out.
Absolutely. I honestly believe, more than I believe, I know Scouts helped me be a better father. Scouts helped me be a better school administrator, because as I went through Scouts with my own son, and I listened to and understood deeper about, working through something, failing and learning through that failure, responsibility, how kids lead other kids. It helped me talk to my son and my kids better. It helped me work with the other kids in my school, and where I was, if there was different groups within the school, I could say to them, I almost talked to them like they were Scouts, and they reacted to it. So I am 100% with you on that I think that all schools, if you don't have a scout, connect with your local Boy Scouts, the program they have is tight. I mean, how many years have Scouts been around? I mean, it's
we're 113 years old now.
113 years old. And
1910.
They've worked it out. They have worked it out. So they have a really, really tight program with that.
Yeah.
Hey, Patrick. Hey, I want to thank you, man. I think this is a phenomenal, amazing conversation about values and the importance of values. Hopefully everybody really got a good understanding of it as well. And I just want to thanks for your time. And I'm looking forward to all the great work we're going to do within Garden State Council.
Awesome. Thanks for the opportunity, Steve. And thanks to all the educators out there for everything they do every day in and out for our young people. And thanks for your leadership and what you do for Scouts.
All right. Hey, thanks so much. Now, before you go, you actually have to sit around and listen to this. One of the things I do at the end of every single episode, I try to do something called Ideas, Ideas, Ideas. I have a book called Ideas, 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 and it comes up with different ideas that schools can do quickly in their schools in order to maximize the climate and culture. So the idea for this one is, when someone calls your school, what do they listen to first? One of the things that I did when I was a building principal is I got a student to record the message on the school, for the school. So when people called, they hear a kid, hello, welcome to Hartford School. We're so happy to have you. We'll be right with you. They didn't do the whole press 1 for this, press 2 for that, press what. They didn't do all of that. But when you call the school, you hear the voice of the student. And when you tell the student to record it, tell the student to smile when they're reading it, because you can tell when someone's smiling in their voice. And they practiced it several times. I wrote it all out. But you heard this happy child answer the phone first when you get to the school. And when you call a school and the first voice you hear is a student, what do you think? You think that this school is all about what? Kids. It's all about kids. So that's a quick, easy, free thing that you can do, idea that you can do in your school. Get a student, have them record the opening message just when anybody answers, calls the school. Because here's the thing. You have an angry parent who calls the school. The first voice they hear is a happy child. Even though they're upset and they talk to the next adult, do you think they're going to be even more upset or just a little bit less upset when they talk to somebody? Huh? There you go. I'm telling you, there you go. What do you think of that idea? That's a good one, right?
That's brilliant. I'm getting a scout to go record a voice message right now to right here at the Garden State Council.
There you go. Welcome to hello, Garden State Council. My name is such and such. I'm a scout. Somebody be right with you. That's all it is. Quick and easy. That's all it is. Just a happy voice of a kid.
Love it.
All right. There you go, gang. Thank you again, Patrick, for being on the Stand Tall Leadership Show. Everybody have a wonderful afternoon, evening, and good night. Take care, gang. All right.